ANPD member and New Orleans local, Michelle Deck, is here to kick off convention with our first general session, Aspire to Transform, Recognize the Benefits of Renewal. Michelle has received many honors for her creativity, innovation, productivity, and exemplary leadership qualities.
Wait a minute. Wait.
To Sigma Theta Tau International, the Honor Society for Nursing. Okay. Oh, there we go. Election to Sigma Theta Tau International, the Honor Society for Nursing. You know this would happen to a bunch of educators, right? And Businesswoman of the Year by the National Business Council. Please join me in welcoming Michelle Deck. Well, let me try that again, maybe. Please join me in welcoming Michelle Deck. All right, this is like the ultimate embarrassment. Mary, has anybody heard from Michelle? Your text. Okay. Deep breath, deep breath. I'm saying that to myself, not just to you. It'll be okay. Deep breath. She does know the right day and the right time, right?
Excuse me, ma'am, is there a problem?
I do have a problem. Have you seen our keynote speaker in the back, Michelle Deck?
No.
Are you sure? This is really important. The keynote is really the way we kick off convention, and if it doesn't start great, that's just not a good thing for us.
How hard could it be to talk for an hour?
Oh. Who are you? I'm sorry. Are you from our audiovisual company?
I am.
Okay.
Is your mic working now?
It is now. Thank you very much.
That's very good. I tell you what, I've seen a lot of people talk. Why don't you let me do it?
I'm not so sure that's such a good idea.
Yes, it is. Good evening, ANPD. So tonight's topic is transformation. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to turn to the person on the side of you, and I'd like for you to discuss what just happened. So if we're going to talk about transformation, I thought it'd be better if we experienced it versus just me defining it. So now we know what happened. I'm from New Orleans. I was born here. I live in Baton Rouge now. But part of the transformation that happened in this city happened after the last ANPD session that was here. How many of you attended that session right before Hurricane Katrina? So I want to show you a little bit of change that happened. When you came before, you see all of our cemeteries are above ground because the water table is so high. You can't dig a hole here without hitting water. But what we saw with Katrina was the water came up and flooded. But when it went back down, pretty much we had the same situation. However, that's just change. What's transformation? Well, look at this. We had a neighborhood of devastation that has now transformed into a beautiful neighborhood based on the generosity of the people who volunteered to come and help, as well as many years of investment. Indeed, the city of New Orleans has transformed. Now, you're probably wondering, what's that up in the corner? That little picture of a blonde-haired little person. Well, that's Annie, and she's been with me since 2013, and she was really excited to be able to be the tour guide for New Orleans. So she's kind of Skyping in, so you'll see her throughout. Hey, she couldn't be here live. She's Skyping in, and so even she's amazed by the transformation. So how has New Orleans transformed since Katrina? Well, our traditional school system was completely changed. And it was overhauled, and there are now 77 charter schools, privately run, and only 6 public schools. Before Katrina, we jockeyed with Mississippi for number 51 on the list. Yeah, 51, they counted the District of Columbia. So that changed. The school system is better. The demographics in New Orleans have shifted. There are actually less people living in the city, but more ethnically diverse. There's lower numbers of African American and Caucasian people and higher numbers of Asians and Hispanics. So there's a lot of diversity in this city, and that's a wonderful thing too. Something else that's transformed. Businesses, startup businesses, 64% higher than in any other metropolitan area in the country. So people are coming down here now, and they're starting successful businesses.
Hi, my name is Annie, and I'm going to be your tour guide on a tour of New Orleans. Yay!
I told you she's excited. She's very excited to be a part of this talk. So some of the good things that have not transformed in the city are some of its best traditions. And Mardi Gras is just one of those traditions. And what you see here is a picture of the Rex Parade turning onto Canal Street a few blocks from here on Mardi Gras Day. Now, what I'd like for you to look at is the crowd, because the crowd is people of all ages out for a lovely family-style entertainment. All that stuff you see on the internet are the drunk tourists in the French Quarter. Sorry, but it's true. All of us families, we're out here catching beads and having fun like a big picnic. So that is one of the wonderful things that has not transformed. What about professional development? Has it?
Michelle.
Annie, this is a very important talk. You have to stay quiet until it's time for you to do the tour. I mean, you're making my head spin. Cut it out. So what about staff development? That's what it used to be called. And in '74, the first book came out 43 years ago. Helen Tobin, Yoder Weiss. That first book that came out, calling it a specialty. Before that, staff development, as it was called, was orientation and continuing education. And it was a member of the ANA Council, but it was not a specialty. It was not recognized. Has it transformed? Look at that picture. Just look at the picture here. Wow. That nurse is wearing a cap and a white uniform, and look what the physician is doing on his break time. He's smoking a cigarette, so yes. Thank goodness times have changed. And indeed, the process of what started as staff development has really become and transformed into something much bigger and broader. So, what's one example? Man, if we could have gone back in time to CPR, when some of us did it round the clock for every human, every week, to get it all done before the records came due at the end of the year. If we could have just dreamed that CPR could have been transformed to what it is today, with mannequins and kiosks that are separate and independent of anyone, what a great development. We could have only dreamt that years ago. And CPR has also transformed in another way.
I'm not annoying.
Oh, yes, you are. Could you please take a chill pill? Please, please, Annie. This is an important talk. Please. These are understanding people, but, they're only so patient. So the second thing to see with CPR is that there are apps out there that people can use to learn CPR. This is just one of them. It's called Resuscitate. And you can learn or review CPR, AED use, and choking on your phone, middle of the night if you need to. Wonderful, wonderful development. There's another app to think about, too, for CPR that I found. It's called Resuscitate. And PulsePoint responds to CPR in the area. If someone, what's she doing? Annie, she's doing CPR on herself. Okay. With PulsePoint, what it does is it's a crowdsourcing app. And it notifies everybody within a 2-mile radius who are CPR certified if somebody drops out in public and needs resuscitation. And also on the app, it shows you where the nearest AED is. Who could have dreamt this years ago? Wow, what huge transformation. And I'm sure 40 years from now, we're going to see an even bigger transformation. And we can only dream about what those things would be.
Can you say yum?
There we go. Yes, we can say yum. And I would encourage everyone here to have some beignets and cafe au lait. They've been a part of the city of New Orleans since 1862. And it would be a shame not to enjoy that. Forget the calories, forget the worries. Enjoy some beignets and cafe au lait. That has not changed over the years. Raise a hand if you're planning on eating them or you already have. Come on. All right, good. So now it's time to get involved.
Okay.
Even Annie's ready. Thank you so much for your participation. Now, group leader, you have one other job and one other job only, and that is to pick one of the people that are responsible for you being the leader. That means not you. And send them to either this side or this side to get one bag. There's a brown lunch sack. Come up, get it, don't open it. You are going to facilitate a 2-minute, count a 2-minute discussion. And it is, what do all of you have in common with a rock? Now what about transformation? Well, we know professional development skills have transformed over the last 43 years. NNSDO as an organization started in '89, the Journal in '85. We are now recognized as specialty clinicians. Yay! With our own exam to prove it. And what are some of the roles many of us play? Consultant, relationship builder, information accessor, strategic players, and indeed, if that wasn't enough, we also have to know how to most effectively teach and train.
Are you sure these are professional development people?
I'm positive. Clap if you're a professional development person. See, Annie? See? These are the real deal. Yes. So now, what are some barriers we find to transformation when we're asking our colleagues to learn something new? Well, time. People don't have enough time. They say, you know, they're pressed now. Patient care is very hard. Inertia. People are happy doing it the way they're doing it now. Fear. Everybody's afraid that if they change their behavior, they might lose something. And then, of course, patients are just overloading sometimes the energy of a nurse. So people are in overload. Sometimes they're just doing the very best they can.
I'll get you, my pretty.
Yes. Yes, barriers can get us, can't they? Just like little Annie said. So, how can we overcome those barriers? Well, the first thing we can do is we can use some creative teaching strategies. And what I need are 3 brave humans to come up and demonstrate their skills as educators. First 3 up here get to do it. Come up on stage.